Welcome back to Sheet Metal is Fun. Today we're going to make a handy hardware holder with a hook. Let's get inside and get started. Welcome back to Sheet Metal is Fun. Today we're going to make a handy hardware holder with a hook. A lot of H's. Come on in. I'm going to show you 4 different ways that we can make this. First of all, let's take the divider out. I'm going to show you how to make a divider. And this has a hook in the back, and I'll show you how that's going to come into play. This has a really nice hem around the front. But one of the things I want you to do in order to really understand what we're doing is I want you to work on your deconstruction. If you're out and about and you see a toolbox or you see a gas pump or you see a vending machine, look at it. See if you can figure out how did they make it? Where does it go together? Where are the seams? Where are the connections? And begin to get a more mechanical perspective on the things that you come in contact with every day. So in order to gain that perspective, I'm going to show you how to make this handy hardware holder with hook, and I'm going to show you 4 different ways to do it. And then I'll show you why we chose the one that we did. All right, first of all, so this is part of our deconstruction demo. Everything we're making here is 26 gauge, which is around 18 thousandths. So one of the things that I want you to think of when you're thinking of a project, anytime we put tabs, these are the tabs, these little 1/2 inch tabs on here. These tabs are actually not part of the project. Is that angle good? Mm-hmm. They're not actually part of the project, but what they do is they help us assemble the project. So sometimes to help in your deconstruction and to understand how things go together and how they come apart, I just want to show you, here is this end. We're going to do 4 ways. This is number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. So number 1, if it helps you whenever you're trying to construct a project, part of what I do is as I travel, anytime I look at something, Stacy she'll see me walk up to something, and I'll run my hand around the back and go, there's the seam. There's where it came together. And it helps me understand how they made what they made. When I look at this, I look at how this comes in, and sometimes I'll feel that. So what I want you to do is to begin to really develop your mechanical awareness, and I want you to look at something that's already existing, and I want you to imagine how that looked, because at one point this was a flat sheet of metal. All these things, everything we're making here at one point was a flat sheet of metal. So if you walked up to this, I want you to look at it, and I want you to visualize what it looked like when it was flat. Because sooner or later, what's going to happen is you're going to come up to a project and you're going to have to visualize a project that is not made yet. You're going to have to look at something and figure out what it's going to take to make this work better for you. So you're going to have to start from nothing and work into something. But part of that process is looking at things that are already made and then deconstruct it, flatten it out, and undevelop it. And then that will help you when you're trying to go the other way. When you're trying to create something, you're gonna already be working on that muscle memory, that taking something from a flat piece into a formed piece, that's going to help your muscle memory. So I want you to continue to work on that. So one of the things we're going to do here is we're going to bend this up 4 different ways, but I'm going to do 2 on this one. And this is just what this looked like when it was flat. So we're going to do one. This is going to be number two, and I'm going to show you the two different ways that we're going to bend this up. Yeah, let me go ahead and let's put a mark on this. This hook on the back, it goes the opposite direction as these other bends. So what I'm going to do, I laid it out so that all my layout marks are on one side, but just so I can see it from the back side, I'm going to make a small punch mark, and that will transfer over. Now I can read that dimension from the opposite side. All right, so this is, let's just bend this thing up. I've shown X is always U, so we're showing this hem going away from X. It's a 1/2 inch hem, and we know that the front of JB, the front of our bender or brake, is a 1/2 inch. And so that's why you're going to see 1/2 inch used a lot, because it's something that we don't have to mark. So since I know that's going to be a 1/2 inch hem going in the opposite direction, let's come over here to JB. And the front of this bending leaf, this is the bending leaf, is the real handy dimension of 1/2 inch. Look at that. That's the first step in making a hem. So the hem does two things. It's going to take the sharp edge off, and it also adds some rigidity. So I'm going to have to sneak up on it. And we're using JB because JB is possibly, if you guys are at home making something, you may be working on a JB like this. I think the link where we bought this one is in the description. All right, look at that. So now we folded this over, and we don't want to flatten it all the way. We would like a teardrop, because a teardrop adds rigidity, and that's what we want. If we smash this all the way flat, it could still be wavy. So we're doing two things. We're deburring it, we're making it where it's not sharp, and we're adding rigidity across the front. If you can see the hem on this one, that adds rigidity across this distance. All right, so now, oh, the first thing, I have to always remind myself that some of you, I'll get that later. Some of you may only watch one video, but if you were watching from the beginning, then you would have already heard a lot of these lessons, and I don't need to apologize, because you're just getting more for free. But you're going to hear a lot of these things. If you watch all the lessons, you're going to hear some of these things almost every time. But one of the things that I want to do here is remind you, in the bending sequence, the first thing you do is always the action that changes your pattern in the least amount of the way. So we started with that hem, and let's go ahead and bend our hook. It says open hook. It doesn't say hem. It says open hook. Is that a good angle, baby? Okay. So this is going to be an open hook. And now we prick marked it so we can see it from this side. I'm going to bend it all the way over till it stops. Now, to make an open hook, we're going to take something and put it inside here. This is just a spare ruler that I have, but you could also use a paint stick or two other thick pieces of metal. This just has a little bit of thickness to it, and that's going to give us the open hook that we want. I'm just going to lay it in there like that. And we're going to clamp down onto it. And having that ruler in there, that straight edge, is going to give us an open hook. Now we have that open hook on the back. As opposed to the hem. See, there's no openness on the hem because we folded it over, and then we want that to be almost flat, but still shaped like a teardrop. Oh, can you see that?
Yeah.
The difference between a hook and a hem?
Mm-hmm.
You got that? So I make myself a note, this end is an open hook, this end is a hem. Ahem, excuse me.
Bless you.
Thank you. All right, so we've done the two things that affected our piece in the least amount. And now let's go ahead and move on to the next. We're working on example number 2. And so what we're going to do here is, first, we're going to stop and put on our reading glasses, if you need them. All right, so I'm going to clamp this on that 1/2 inch line. Bend that up 90. And if anything, I want to go a little bit past 90, tiny bit past 90. All the metal that we work with, all of it has a memory. So if I were to bend that exactly 90, as soon as I take it out of the break, it's going to spring back open a little bit. So sometimes if I want to finish up with a 90, see how that's slightly over 90? Can you see that?
Mm-hmm.
I want it to be slightly over, and when we get ready to put the end on, that's going to explain why. So now that we've been our 1/2 inch 90, oh, I've got two. Remember how I said there was a lot in here? All right, so here's something I want you to see. See this right here? When we bent this up a 1/2 inch 90 on the end, this one is just a V notch. Just a V. But look at this one. This one is a 45 and a 45. So I'm showing a 90-degree notch, which is a 45 plus a 45. Is that a good angle right there? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm doing here is showing you the two different options for a notch. Man, that's a good looking video right there. All right, so I want this to go. So one of these is going to have to pass by the other. So I just want to create a little bit of an offset here. Again, going back to, if you guys watch all of our videos, you've already seen this. But don't do this, because if your screwdriver comes off, you're going to end up in a bad spot. All I want to do is I'm going to turn this screwdriver this way. So all I've done, can you see that offset on there, hon?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's so small, huh? So all I've done is made sure that when these two fold up together, one doesn't run into the other. And that's only on the V notch. This one is a 45 and a 45. So this one's going to come up and they're just going to touch. They're not going to overlap. They're just going to touch. But I wanted you to see the two different ways that we can do this. Yeah. Oh man, I like this. So
And you already marked everything just to speed up the video.
I marked everything, yeah. So I think Stacy took a picture of my drawing of what we're making. That's a great point. And so just so that you guys didn't have to sit here while I was laying it out, marking it, and notching it, I did some of that before you guys got here. Yeah, okay, this is going to be, I'm looking forward to you guys seeing the two different notches, how the two different notches come together. So these are the two notches that I stuck the screwdriver in there and turned it and just gave it a little bit of an offset. So going back to our deconstruction, oh, let's take this one. I have it marked for a hem. It's raw, 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 sis boom ba, and then a 1/2 inch hem. Let's go ahead and put that 1/2 inch hem on there. If we do it this way, we can't miss. If we just go flush in the front, that's a 1/2. Now we're going to smash it down, but not all the way, right? We just want to get it pretty close. Yeah. So, since we're doing 4 different styles, this is just the deconstruction demo. In order to help you with your deconstruction, I've made this end cap and it's raw. I didn't make any tabs, I didn't make any allowances. So the problem with that is we can't put it together, right? We can't put it together because we didn't put any seams. But what I want to show you is that all these tabs, when you look at this drawing right here, if you see that 1/2 inch tab and this 1/2 inch tab, they're not part of our actual project. What they are, they're there to help us assemble the project. So this is the explanation, and if this helps you see how things go together, we can turn these two pieces, we can make that a bend, right? Then that eliminates one seam if we turn it into a bend. And then if we add a tab there and a tab there, then we could install that end on the end of our tray of our handy hardware holder with a hook, quadruple H.
Lots of H's.
Lot of H's. The H's were on sale this week, so we're going to use all 4. We're going to use all of them. So that's one. I just wanted you, so again, this is just to help you when you're deconstructing. If you're going to deconstruct something, make your drawing as simple as you can, and then add in things like your tabs and your hems or anything that you need in order to assemble the project. So this is just a visual aid on what is happening. Now this one, look at, so this end we just bent it up. That's a visual aid. You can see how it's shaped. See our hem and our open hook. But now on this end we turned a 90, and these are our 2 different 90s. Can you see what we got, huh? Let me tap this with our love hammer. Bam. So now we notch both of these at a 45. Look what a nice clean corner that gives you if you notch them both at a 45. This one is a V, so because it's a V, there's going to be an overlap. So this is number 2. This is the second way. So now here is our end cap. It didn't need any tabs on it because we put the tabs on the main part. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to mark this. Bam. I just marked this right here. Put our piece in there and I marked that. Okay. You see that mark? Mm-hmm. All right. Ooh, I like that. Now let's come around to that mark and let's do a notch. We're going to go one here, one there. Then we're going to go right here. Look at that. Isn't that nice? Okay, so now look at our end cap. Now our end cap can slide right on there. See how that came together? The hem on the end cap came around and it's capturing that flange. Let me show you on the inside what it looks like. I'm going to hold still, then you put it where you want it. Now I can, when I just looked over your shoulder, let's look at this right here. Well, looking over your shoulder, I noticed that hem is still a little bit more open than I want. Can you see where I'm at right here?
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to close it up a little bit. All right, so I just closed that up right there. So that is number 2 way to do it. And there's not a right way and a wrong way. There are just different ways. And sometimes the different ways give you a different look. So what you're going to have to do here to put this together, your rivets are going to come in through the end, right? I don't know if we should be... I'm going to show you guys something. Sometimes you guys send me a message and you say, you know, all these rivets, they look... Is there another way to assemble it without the rivets? And the answer is yes. This is it. It's called a spot welder. And these 2 points, the voltage is just trying to get from one to the other. So where these 2 points come together, it's going to put a lot of pressure, and then it's going to get the metal molten, and then it's going to press them together. And then so whenever we let go, it's going to put a little tiny weld in a little tiny spot, and that's how they got the name. So let's take our end. There's our end, there's our tabs. And we could put pop rivets in here, but just to show you, you could also buy at your local discount tool supply a spot welder. Wouldn't that be funny if this doesn't work? All right.
Why wouldn't it work?
Because we're live. All right, here we go. I'm going to add the voltage. Oh, baby. So the voltage is passing from one arm to the other, and it's focused down to a very small place. And that's what helps in the intensity of the weld, is that it's so focused. So this is for those of you that have asked me, hey, Ken, hey, sheet metal dude, as some call me, like my wife.
I feel like that was in our wedding vows.
Yeah, it was. Dude!
No,
So
Ken,
look
sheet
at
metal.
the... So look at what we've done here. So instead of a pop rivet, we've welded it in a little tiny spot with our spot welder. So again, there's our 45, there's our 2 notches at 45. You can see that finish. Here's the V notch, one overlaps the other. That's also just an alternate. That's all it is. It's 2 different ways to do the same thing. But I've had this spot welder for 27 or 28 years. I bought it off my dad. My dad, among a lot of things, he was very capable. He was a welding supply salesman, and that's how I learned how to weld when I was 10. And not only was he a welding supply salesman, we were just broke. We were just poor. And so we never had the luxury of taking our car to a shop. So we had to learn how to work on our own cars, and that's why I'm also a mechanic. So look at all the lessons my dad taught me. How to be a mechanic, how to think on my feet, and he even sold me a lot of the tools that I still use this day. And my dad's been gone 21 years. So look at that, welded in a spot. I don't know if you can see that from the inside.
Right there.
Is that a good angle? All right. So what I want you to see is right here on the corner. See this right here? I don't know. I keep wanting to put my hand right there but it's, huh?
The glare is right there.
The glare is here?
Yeah.
How's that? I want you to see this corner and see how we've lost continuity right there because we're making two different pieces to come together in that corner. So that makes that corner just a little bit sharp. I want you to remember that because we're gonna talk about that. When you use a file or a hacksaw, they only cut one way. And I know I learned it the hard way. My dad was old school, and he didn't like it. If he saw you using a file going in both directions, he was going to give you the stink eye. And so whenever you file, you only file on the push. The teeth are angled forward, so they only cut on the push, not on the pull.
I thought you were going to show the teeth, so I got a close-up, but I got a close-up on nothing.
Did you? Nothing? You got a close-up of nothing?
I
All
got
right.
a close-up of nothing.
Okay, watch this. Here's what a file looks like. Gosh, I should have drawn a shorter file. I don't know why did I draw such a long file?
Lifelike.
Yeah, why did I draw a full-scale file? Okay, hang in there with me. Hang in. Almost there. Last one. Bam. There. So you can see it only cuts when we're pushing it this way. These teeth, when they come in contact with the work, they are only going to remove metal when you're pushing it this way. When you drag it backwards, you can actually dull these teeth and it takes the edge off of the file. So the file is like, if you thought about a football player, a lineman, or and they lean into the oncoming impact. Because if they stood on the line leaning backward, it'd be easy to tip them over and push them back that way. Files are the same way. The file leans into the work. The tooth leans into the work.
That's a good analogy.
Did you like it?
I liked it.
Man, I said football, then I thought, we have friends all over the world. They're going to go, football. So, but spot welder. I sneaked in a new tool on them, hon. So that answers a lot of your questions. This is a spot welder that we use a lot. I think we have 3 of these. There's one in the truck that we take out on the job site. Stainless steel spot welds, great. Stainless steel absorbs heat 50% faster than steel. So it doesn't take very much voltage, and then those two things are just one, and they're together and they're not coming apart. So now, just for deconstruction, I showed you with no tabs, no hems. This is just to help you begin to see how things go together. here's the next step, right? We turned a flange on there, and then our end cap didn't have any tabs on it. And we put a hem on the top and slid it down in there. So we got a nice, I really like this end, and it also looks good across the front. The only place you see the mechanical fastening is whenever you look at the end. All right. Number 3, process number 3 and process number 4. Look,
Lean it forward a little bit instead of backwards. Yeah.
is that good? So on this one, the end cap is on the 4-inch wide base.
It's got to go forward just a little bit more.
Little bit more?
Showing it. Yeah.
Is that like good right there?
Yeah, that's perfect.
So our handy hardware holder with a hook is 4 inches wide and only 3 inches tall. So that's why this end cap is 4 inches wide, 3 inches tall. Look at this one. We're going to put this one on the front. Now it's 4 inches wide, 3 inches tall, because when we fold it up, it has to be 4 inches wide to close up the bottom, close up the end. So you wouldn't want to do your project. Well, I guess maybe there's an application for this, but ordinarily your pattern would be symmetrical. You would decide, do I want them both to look like this? Or do I want them both to look like this? But because we're showing you the 4 different ways that you can do it, I've just incorporated the 2 different ways into one pattern. So let's go back to the first thing we do is the operation that affects our piece in the smallest possible way. That's going to be our hem. And I have it going away from X. X is always you, the operator. And look right here, there's no notch. No notch on the corner. I'm going to show you that in a minute why there's no notch. We pointed out the corner on the other one we did. And then remember that time I said, hey, we're going to talk about that? Remember that one time I said that?
I remember that one time.
Yeah, that's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about that. But first, but wait, there's more. There's more. All right, so
Infomercial.
yeah, only 14 easy payments. And then one, no, I can't take Mitch Hedberg's joke. And then one difficult payment. You go, Mitch. Wow, that dude's a funny dude, man. All right, so we got our hem over close. We don't want to smash it all the way. We just want to get it close. So let's turn it into a teardrop. There's our teardrop. And we know, judging by our directions, we have and I put open hem. Look at that. It's an eraser. We don't want an open hem. We want an open hook. I mean, let's show a little consistency, for crying out loud. Open hook. X, the hook goes away from X. So we're going to go to these marks that we put in here. Man, I really like this thing, huh?
It's handy.
Isn't it? It's handy. Handy for what? What would you say it's handy for? Hardware. Say hardware. That's where it's handy for hardware. Yeah.
We're making handy hardware holders and hooks.
Yes.
That's what
Yeah.
it's handy for.
That's why it's handy. So again, this is an open hook. I didn't call it a hem. Well, I did at first, but then I corrected myself to an open hook. That hook is a little tiny bit too open. Oh, simmer down, simmer down. There we go. All right, there's our hook. There's our hook and our hem, the 2 things that affected our piece in the smallest way. Now we're going to bend this up and we're going to show you number 3 and number 4. And then I want to see if you guys agree with me. And you don't have to. See, when we bend that flange, when we bend this, we get this one for free. And this one. Who doesn't love free? Who doesn't love free?
How
Okay.
you feel about free?
I love a bargain. I love a coupon. I love a bargain. And I love free. So, look at that. So, do you see what we have so far? So, here's process number 3. So, I've marked here up him. So, let's finish that one first. Oh, you know what? In one of our here it is. Folding and forming, folding and forming. That's so we showed you how to make this bender. So we're going to turn, it says up him. So we're going to start this and then we want to put it over the bench. Right? Now we'll come over here with our hand seamers. Again, holding it down against the bench. Ooh. Did you hear that? How awesome that was?
That was good.
Man.
Like you knew what you were doing.
I know
You
it.
need to do that.
Well, you know, I'm just going to fake it till I make it. So we want this tab to go to the outside because I want it to move into that hem right there. So over the table, not over the edge. I don't have to demonstrate to you how bad this is, right? But look at this. Even if I totally mess up, I still get to go home and have dinner with my sweetheart. I don't have to go somewhere and wait in line to get stitches. I don't recommend that. It sounds like fun. I've never once gone down to get stitches and went, man, this is worth it. I love stitches. So here I show a 1/2 inch 90, which this folder is 1 inch. We've set this piece back in here 1 inch so that if we were to walk up, we could slide this on. Now I'm just getting out of control. So if we wanted to, we could slide this on and it's going to give us a 1 inch bend. But we don't want a 1 inch bend right now. So one of the reasons we made our folder 1 inch is because at 1 inch it works. But here I've marked this at a 1/2. So what I can do is now use the mark on the metal and just run that along the front of the folder. So we used our handy 1 inch folder and we went off the mark that we made on our pattern and we bent up a 1/2 inch 90. Now we want this flange to go to the outside of this. So let's go back to our screwdriver trick. Going down here, all I'm doing is going to turn it. And whenever I'm turning the screwdriver, I'm just offsetting this piece and it's going to go on the back side. That offset is probably so slight. Maybe you could see it from this direction. Can you see it from there? You got it? Okay. So now I mentioned earlier, I don't think you're going to see it. It says no notch. We didn't put a notch in the front. Look at that hem is continuous. So one thing, the metal, it's very willing to be stretched, but it will really give you a run for your money if you try to shrink it. And that would be, if I had a really good grip, I could stretch this. Even if I just stretched it a small amount, it would retain its shape and its integrity. But if I tried to push it together, you can see the difference between the two operations. Stretching, it doesn't change it much. And if we tried to shrink it, it's going to rebel against that process. So what we did across the front is, this is going to be a stretch around the front, and you're going to see that. So what we're going to do is go over to the brake, and it's going to hit the front of the brake, so we're not going to be able to complete the bend. But what we're going to do, let me show you this. I have a mark right along here. That's my bend line. So I'm going to clamp it right on that bend line, and we're just going to get as much as we can out of the brake. And once we get as much as we can, all right, we're going to just get it whatever we can. So make sure that you see what's happening here. As soon as we feel interference, we're going to stop. But as we were saying earlier, all this metal has a memory. So all I did was put in as much as I could reasonably put in. But once we start it, once we've initiated the bend, we can come in here with our hand seamers. So this is how much we were able to get out of the brake. Now we're just going to come over here with our hand seamer. And we're going to finish that up. So now this tab went to the outside. This one also went to the outside. I'm holding it there, and I'm going to clamp it. Give it a little love tap with my hammer from Justin, our oldest son, who owns Trinity Artisan Steel. He made this hammer out of a broken drive shaft, broken axle shaft. And you can look him up on Facebook, Trinity Artisan Steel. He does amazing artistic work. He makes knives, he makes all kinds of incredible stuff. One thing about this trade is, once you develop mechanical thinking, I've been in business for 29 years in a small town. This is a very small town, and we live on the western slope of the Sierras in Northern California. And this, what we do today is not the same as we did. When we started out, I was an air conditioning and heating contractor. That's mostly what I did. And then that turned into, we did metal roofing for years, and now we do wrought iron gates and stainless steel welding and fabrication. So our biggest, most of what we do now is stainless steel, food grade. We do commercial kitchens. And so I said that to say that I taught Justin, my oldest son, how to do sheet metal work, and from that he went and added blacksmithing to it. So he's a sheet metal man and a blacksmith. I think I want to spot weld this again, hon. What do you think?
It's up to you.
Yeah, let's do it. So I'm just going to give this a little love tap. Look at that. I'm able to get a couple in the bottom too. You might even be able to see on the camera the red hot metal. All right, so let's bend up our last one. I think we've already pried these, but if we haven't, let's do it one more time.
And he goes to the outside as well.
Yes, they're going to go to the outside. On the front, it's going to tuck into this hem across the front.
Awesome.
And did you see that?
I did.
Did you even see me walk over to the brake? That was fast. I went
You're
over.
a bender.
I am a bender. So now I'm going to tuck that into that 1/2 inch hem in the front. Let's clamp that. Give it a little love right here. Let's put this on here. Oh, that was nice. That one's on there real good.
That one got fire.
Yeah. Yeah. Last one. I'm going to hold it by the vice grip because otherwise, sure as all get out, I'm going to grab it by one of those red hot welds. Then it's going to smell like really bad tri-tip out here.
Ew.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry I said that. It had a twist in it I didn't like, so I untwisted it. So, let's do the spot weld again. And so, just so it doesn't try to come apart in everyday use, let's put a rivet in it. We're going to use our handy pop riveter. Tool tray video. Add a drawer to the tool tray video. Pan video. Have you ever thought I should have been a salesman, hon?
Or a politician.
Politician, you take that back right now.
Okay, salesman.
Yeah, thank you. Good heavens. You think you know somebody and they call you a politician. Ouch. Okay. So, just because we want to have the confidence to load this up and throw it around, we don't want one of our welds to come apart. And embarrass us in front of our friends and neighbors. Yeah, look at that. So, just like the one that we showed you at the beginning, here's what I think we've already talked about this one. We have this lack of continuity around the front corner. See that, where we have two hems meeting at the corner. And then we have this unsightly end, which may or may not be a factor. And then we have this, our number 3 pattern has this 1/2 inch in the front. So we have the spot welds in the front. And then we also have that lack of continuity around this front corner. But that sure gives us that gives us a nice smooth bottom. So every one of these processes has a different effect. And now this is the one we made that we initially began with. Look at the continuity that we have around the corner. And the reason we didn't notch that is because this gives us a nice finished corner, and it gives us a good looking end and a good looking front. So if this is of any concern to you, that'll gives you the best looking front and the best looking end. Let's compare the two ends. There's the two ends. And can you see, I'll try to, you see the two, one where we lose continuity and one where we maintain continuity all the way around. This is the one that we chose for the one we use. Now, what we want to do is, we don't want just one long tray. We want to put a divider in it. Here's the divider that we made, that we used out front. And I just made it very simple. This is now that just turns our handy hardware holder with hook. I did it, all 4. Into 3 compartments. And if we want to go back to 1, we can. And if we wanted to make 1 small compartment and 1 large and 1 medium, we can do that. See that, baby? Mm-hmm. All right. So we're going to do that. So we're going to bend up these dividers. Now, on these dividers, whenever the choice is up to me, I'm going to make all 4 of these bends an up. This is an example. All 4 of these bends. So I bent that hem up. That's an up, and an up. If the choice is mine, I'm going to do that, and then I never have to flip my piece over. So now that I've said that, let's go ahead and do it. So I've got a 1/2 inch hem. And a 1/2 inch hem flush in the front. Now, since I made all of them up, let's pretend it didn't fall out. Bam! There it is. I don't know how our friends around the world are going to see this when I can't see it. There we go. So hem up, bend up, bend up. Now, if for some reason we wanted that hem to go the other way, all we would have had to have done is flip the piece over. But since the choice was up to us, we made them all the same. So there's that. And let's say you didn't want 3 compartments. That's too many compartments. Here's another divider. It has a hem and a bend up. I've already marked it. I marked it a 1/2 inch here for the hem, and then I marked it at 3 inches is how tall this angle is going to be. So since it's our choice, our decision, we're going to do flush in the front up. Hey, Bella. She wants to know why we're making videos
Not our food.
and not her food. So if I only want to divide this compartment into two, what I'll do is I only make an L. Now, the length of the L determines on where you want the divider, right? If I wanted to divide it right in the middle, I would have made the base, I would have made this L longer. But I wanted a big one and a small one. So, since this is the handy hardware with the hook, let's go show you what we have. So we have three types of screws. We have pointy, and these can both be referred to as self-tapping screws. This screw has a pointy end on it. If the metal you're working with, if you can cut it with your snips, this is 26 gauge. If you can cut the metal with your snips, use the pointy tip screw. But this is the pointy tip is for light gauge metal. If you can cut it with your snips, use the pointy tip. And then put the driver for it in with the screws. How do you like that? The next tip is, if the material is so thick that you can't cut it with your snips, use the drill tip screw. It actually has a drill bit on the tip. The problem, if you use the drill bit tip on light metal, it removes a large amount of metal and then it strips. So these are for heavier gauge metal. Drill tip screws. They both are referred to as self-tapping. And then Phillips head screws. So I always just put the driver in with this fastener. So now we have Phillips, we have number 10s. These are 5/16 or number 10. These are number 8s or 1/4 inch. So the next thing we're going to do is we put a hook on the back for one reason. That is, you can hang it somewhere, and then you have a handy hardware holder. Look, I want you to see. We ready to watch that again? Pow! Look at that. Oh, and I know what. Some of you guys are saying, hey, but I don't have a rolling cart. Maybe you have a wall and you screw this Z-bar to it and you hang it on your wall. But now that I've bragged about the Z-bar, let's make one. So this is, we're going to call this the wall Z. Z is a catch-all. Anytime it has back-to-back offsets. This way? Is that good? So this is our, oh, here's our demo right here. I want to show you, I cut this 2 1/4 because it's going to come up an inch, out 1/4, and then up an inch. That's what that Z is. And you're going to see it again. But we have to sneak, can you see that? Sneak up on it. And what I mean by that is, let's do one here without sneaking up on it. I'm going to go to that 1 inch line. Not going to sneak up on it. I'm going to bend that up 90. Now, when I get ready to put in the other bend, the narrowest Z I can make, look, I'm already tight. I'm tight in the front. the smallest Z I can make is a 1/2 inch because the front of our brake is a 1/2. Right? That's too much. That's too much. So what we got to do is sneak. Is that good? So we're going to sneak up on it. We don't want a 1/2 inch offset. We want a really small offset. So I've marked this piece is 2 1/4, and I've put a 1 inch mark across here, and on the opposite side I put another 1 inch mark. So let's go here. Let's sneak up on it. If you don't sneak up on it, you're going to end up with a fat Z. You'll be the laughing stock of all the alphabet. All right, so we're going to sneak up on it. Look. Oh, yeah. Right? Now I'm going to flip it over, put it in here. Now look at that. Can you see that shape? Is my belly a good backdrop for the Z, huh? So we sneaked up on it. Because we sneaked up on it, we were able to get a smaller offset. We didn't sneak up on this one. And because we didn't sneak up on it, we have a fat one. Sometimes that's what you want, just not today. So here's the Z. We're going to call this the wall Z. And this is, we made one and we screwed it to the wall. And that meant we can hang our handy hardware holder with a hook on the Z. Now, you could, if you were so inclined, put your Z right here, and you could screw that to the front of your workbench, and you could hang your handy hardware holder with a hook across the front of your bench. The nice thing about the handy hardware holder with a hook, I love saying that, I just love saying it, is if your Z is on the wall or it's hanging here, you can take this with you anywhere in the shop. You could take it out on the job site, and this is not screwed to your workbench back at the bench. Or you may want something here. So whenever this could have a felt pen, it could have a cold drink, it could have snacks. They could all three be snacks. This could be chocolate with nuts, chocolate with nuts and toffee. I'll let you guess which one's my favorite. I love toffee. And I think, so we've shown you how to make a handy hardware holder with a hook. We've shown you how to make a divider if you wanted it in 3 equal compartments. This is 12 inches. This one's 4, 4, and 4. And if you wanted to do it this way, well, if you thought you're never going to change it, I'll put a little bit of Pookie, a little bit of adhesive on the back of that divider, and then it always stays right there. Oh, yeah. So, I don't know if you guys saw it off camera, but Stacy just reminded me. So let's go back to this divider, right? So now, that's right. Man, I can't believe we almost missed that, huh? So we have 2 Phillips and 2 flat screwdrivers. And we have our cone bit. And what we're going to do is we're going to put a mark I'm going to put one here. One there. One there. See how high tech that was? Did you see all the measuring I went through right there? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So,
Yes, you have keen eye.
I do have a keen eye. It's this one on this side. The other one's not that keen. Okay, so now I'm going to go to these very specific markings with my cone bit. Yeah, this is looking good. Look at that. You know, that doesn't look too bad. If I hold it like this, doesn't that look real good if I hold it crooked like that and at an angle? No, that angle's bad. Right there, great. So, we can go to our divider, and we can also put in oh, look at that. This one's laughing at me. It's going, ha ha, you didn't drill a hole big enough, but I'm gonna. Not big enough. All right, screwdriver, you win this one. Look at that. So now we have a place for screwdrivers if we want. And things on this side. Okay. We can't say things if there's no things. So we can have a 41 Ford and 49 Merc. Look at that. When I say things, I mean things. So there you go. Can you think of anything else I'm missing? All right, so we did it. We made a handy hardware holder with a hook. But with these things that we're making here, they are, you don't have to exactly copy. You know, you have a picture of what we made. Here's what we made. This cut size was 13.5 by 21. That's what I made, but maybe that doesn't work just right for you. But what we want to do is inspire you and encourage you. Maybe you would take on a project. Maybe you never thought about making a handy hardware holder with a hook before, and now we've just done it. You could make one longer. You could make it narrower. You could make it deeper. One thing, I don't like to make them too deep because then it makes it difficult to get the pieces out of there. So 3 inches, you can get your hand into a 3-inch deep tray. So what we want to do is encourage you, inspire you, take some of the mystery out of metal fabrication. And because of that, we would love to see what you guys are making. If we've helped you make a project, take a picture of it, send it to us, and we'll put you on our fabulous fabricators. We didn't have any fabulous fabricators set up for tonight, did we, baby? All right, we'll put them in there next time because we have some that are ready to go in. And that was I overlooked that in my enthusiasm to show you tonight's project. But take inspiration from what we have made and make something that makes your life better, makes you feel good, and gives you a sense of accomplishment. We appreciate it. Thanks for coming by. We'll see you on the next episode of Sheet Metal is Fun. And if you want to, go check out Justin over on Trinity Artisan Steel on Facebook. See you guys. See you on the next one.